Hey everybody, welcome to HBCU Game Day. A very special guest today. Man, she is a part of the culture. She is a part of the fabric of basketball. She's a 5-time Olympian, one of the best ever to lace it up. She's a Naismith Hall of Famer. She is Teresa Edwards. She has a new book out on Audible called Black Gold. We're going to get into all of that. But first, Teresa, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here at HBCU Game Day.
It's my pleasure, Tully. Thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to just use your platform and to get to know what's going on.
Hey, there is a lot, and a lot of it is with you. You have a brand new book that I've listened to. It's on Audible. It's called Black Gold. You know, when I got it, we have a mutual acquaintance
Yes.
in Tracy Williams. And
Wonderful lady.
She told me about. She was like, "Look, you got to talk to her. I'm going to send you the link." And you know, I listen to a lot of sports radio, so I'm like, look, I can easily carve out a couple hours to listen here. And the funny thing is, when it ended, I thought I must have skipped the chapter because it went by so quick. And I was like, man, that was like boom, boom, boom. But it was really good stuff. I mean, it was a total meat sandwich of basketball and your journey. What inspired you to put it down on wax so everyone could hear?
So that's a loaded question. First, I'm like you said, let me back up just a little. The wonderful lady we have mutual respect for is Tracy. And Tracy actually has a little small role in this book, but just a great friend, like a sister friend. I'm really thankful to her and our relationship just to be able to have this opportunity to sit with you. What inspired that? What inspired Black Gold? Black Gold stems from a lot of emotions. It stemmed from a time in my life where I thought everything was going great and I was this innocent kid playing the game of basketball for the love of it. And realizing that it's not, everything that's associated with sports and basketball as a whole, and sometimes business, is not always for the love of it. And when I came off the court in 2000, this was therapy for me, writing this piece, pulling it together. But I began writing it after 96 because that's when the experience began for me. The love of the game was kind of, in my mind, stripped. I was no longer innocent. I was no longer this innocent kid bouncing a basketball just for the sake of bouncing it. Now it was for changing the game. It was for my role and my historical part that I would play in women's basketball as a whole. And most importantly, to be honest with you, is to be able to have an opportunity to tell my story my way while I have that opportunity to do that, especially for my family.
And there's so much there, and we won't give it all away because we want people to go out and listen to Black Gold on Audible. But a lot of our fans here at HBCU Game Day are obviously into the HBCU experience and all the times that paths cross. And I tell you, I've been on the campus of Morehouse so many times, just watching games, filming games, recording games. And the arena that they still play in was built for the 1996 Olympics. At least some of your preliminary games you guys played there. What were some of your memories there playing on the campus of Morehouse the few times that the ladies national team did?
Most importantly, the close confinements that we had felt like home. I love playing in those gyms that I feel like people are right on top of me. Not that it was small by any means. That felt like at home. Being in the neighborhood felt like at home. Like how are we going to get this done on the spectrum of the Olympics and what it brought to Morehouse and that community, I thought was huge. We actually played a preliminary game before the actual games there, which was fun as well. So I felt at home playing at Morehouse. The ABL, American Basketball League, kind of fell right into there after the Olympic Games left Atlanta, and women's professional basketball actually was birthed right there at Morehouse in that same gym. So it's I don't know what you say, not like a promised land, but it's more of a cynical piece of history, or I don't know, sincere piece of history, I should say, for me to just know that that's where we started, and that's where, of course, we didn't lose many games there at all. We packed the house all the time, so it was awesome.
And there's so much history from the Olympics that you can still tangibly see and touch on the campus, both at Morehouse and Clark Atlanta, as well throughout the city of Atlanta. That had to be just a really special moment. You're from Cairo, Georgia. You were about 3 hours away from home. You're a multi-time Olympian, but that time in Atlanta had to be challenging. When people listen, they'll hear a lot of the challenges that you
Yeah.
face, but also very special too. So almost like a mixed bag there in '96.
A lot was happening. Women's basketball was coming off of a loss from Barcelona games, and we had a special road back. We traveled and played around the world for an entire year almost, just training for those games. So landing there prior to the games, knowing the importance that it was going to take, we actually had a travel journey of undefeated record somewhere in our 40s prior to the Olympic Games starting. So we were like adventuring on something that had never been done before. Most importantly, we were showing America the first time women's basketball at a professional level. We at that time were all playing abroad. If you wanted to play professional basketball as a female, you were going abroad. You were in Europe. You were in Asia. You were all over the world, just trying to make a dollar playing the game after the game here in the States. So those games proved to be the catalyst to what we have today with the WNBA. Now, in my book, I went through a lot to get through that year. I emotionally more than physically. Physically, I thought I rose to the occasion beyond my own abilities. I'm at 30 something, playing in Atlanta. So the where we took the game as a team, as a USA Basketball, as the NBA, had our backs and really made that happen for us. It's tremendous to look out now and see the WNBA in their 25th year. I think it's the 25th year of their anniversary, or celebrating our Olympic team and things of that nature are going on right now. So much is going on. So much was going on then. So what I feel today as they head to Tokyo is quite the same. It's like a lot is going on. A lot of changes are happening. It was important to me to kind of reach back and say, hey, it wasn't all glass slippers and it wasn't all like a pretty crown on your head and we put on a uniform and everything was perfect. We went through a lot to get to where we are today, and it started back in 1996.
I think your book, Black Gold, which people can find on Audible through Amazon, are really great and quick and
Thank you.
easy listen. That's out
Yeah,
there
you
right
make it
now.
sound really exciting. So I thank you for that. Like it went fast. That means it was entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, it was. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'm a sports junkie, and there was things that I didn't know that happened that were very interesting. The protagonist relationship between you and your coach. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that. We're not all high-level basketball players, but we all have to deal with somebody in the world that we don't always get along with. And to see how you dealt with that and that journey was very interesting. It was really the central theme of the book to me as I listened to it. Without giving away the entire plot, how did that kind of change you as you transition from basketball? You still are a young lady. You have lots of life to live. How did that kind of impact you, and what type of an effect did that relationship have on your life moving forward?
I think I delved into how, I was very blessed to have strong women in my path. And like my mother played a pivotal role in my life always, and she still does. I think just the strong women that raised me allowed me to persevere through that process, as well as allows me to go on today. I mean, having the ability to pen this and having the ability to make sure that this story comes alive in the correct way, because it was important to tell this story in a way that I didn't vilify that process, because it was an experience. And these experiences, like you said, they happen to us in so many different levels and so many different genres of life that we have to find a way to still stand. We have to find a way to be our true selves and know that we don't have to be apologetic about it. We have to walk in our own truths. And to me, that was a journey for me, understanding who I really was, understanding my true gifts, and how to use those to the best of my abilities, even given the adversities and the challenges. Really important to me, and to this day remains important to me, to just set goals and to continue to go after my goals in spite of the doubters, in spite of anybody, any negativity coming towards me. I've always been that type of athlete, and I think it just goes and kind of like parallels my life as well, as person that I am.
I will say this about how you crafted your story and how you presented it. It didn't come across as sour grapes. It didn't come across as, all right, let's have this artificial kumbaya happy ending. Like, you didn't try to make it like, like something we're accustomed to, like in a fictional movie or presentation. It was just very authentic. And then after I listened to it, I was like, okay. That was very real.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm glad it came off that way though, because that's how I felt, and it really is authentic. It really is true to who I am, and just even having the opportunity to use my voice, it was something different as well for me. But it felt good and it felt natural for me.
One thing I connected with when you talked about your upbringing, Cairo, Georgia is rural America, and if anybody is from the country here in the United States of a particular age, and especially black people, I feel like we can all relate to that experience. You said one thing that I almost literally asked my grandmother, who raised me when I got older. I just said one day, I said, "Grandma, were we poor?" Like, when I look back on it, I kind of feel like we classified, economically, we probably would have been poor, but I never felt like it because I never missed out on anything, because that generation was able to use the resources around them. Look, you didn't get toys when you went to the store, right? But you always had food. You always had clothes. You always had love. You may have caught, a whipping or two when you deserved it. But that was just that time, and man, I understand how that shapes you as an adult, and I just really connected with that story of your upbringing.
Thank you. And I was the only girl of five with my mother, and four brothers that were all younger. So I was in a role of like leadership really early as well. And the way I connected with my mother was like pretty much story time. Always questioning why I had to do things differently, why the boys had it a little bit easier, why do I have to give them a bath, things of that nature. It was you put it right on the head there. Like those were those days. That's what happened. Our resources were everything around us, the bicycle rim and everything. Everything around us in the neighborhood's yards, the pecan trees across the street, the tangerines or whatever they called them back then, those trees, the apple tree there. We were in 5 different yards every day. And like I said, like you said, we were never hungry. So if we were poor, I don't know what that word meant at that age.
Listen, talking with Teresa Edwards, 5-time Olympian here. She's the author of Black Gold, which you can catch now on Audible. Teresa, if a person has never grown up and played basketball with the bicycle rim as the goal, they are not to be trusted.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing you'll have in common with me, you got one of the flattest shots in the world, but it still goes in.
It's just part of it.
Absolutely.
Let's get back to the forward a little bit. Skip forward in your life a little bit. You talked about meeting Edwin Moses, who is just, the lore of him at Morehouse and in the track world, and just one of the greatest hurdlers ever. What was it about him? I almost could just. It seemed like, as you described it, he's like one of those people, like you almost see his aura when you walk up on him.
Big time, way before you get close to him. It exudes. He's a class act. I don't care when I met him at 84, he was a class act. I see him on the road doing appearances. He's always a class act. He's just someone I've always tried to mirror and to just take notes on him, because his presence is bigger than life everywhere I go. So I'm always in the background when he's around. Like, I don't even think, it takes him to come on. Hey, come on, Teresa. Like, it takes him to do that to me. And I go back to being that little kid, but he was bigger than life in 1984 for me. And I can see him right now. I call him up on the phone right now. He's the greatest guy alive. He'll answer the call every time. So I think his influence on my life was evident. And just having that opportunity, like I mentioned in 96, to represent the athletes and remembering him and the experiences I shared with him, it's priceless.
Your book is so timely right now. We have the Olympics coming up, obviously, just a couple of weeks away. The men's national team, look, they're on the struggle plate right now. They're trying to get it together. They've lost some games. They're starting to lose some players. We had the WNBA All-Star game last week, and they beat Team USA. There's a lot happening in the world of basketball. I think people can kind of maybe see some of the correlation between what you went through and that things really what athletes go through doesn't change that much. I think, talk to this, Teresa, people watch it on TV, and now, even now, they can say, well, WNBA players, make more money than I do. NBA players have been rich forever. Oh, they just got it made. But none of that money, none of your contract, matters in practice and in the game. It's still the process that you started when you were a little kid, right?
It's a very valid point you make. It changes to at a certain perspective because you got to make a living, and you are making a living off of it. However, it doesn't matter your approach to the game and who you are and what it exemplifies. The character in which you exude on the court pretty much is going to be who you are off the court as well. But it matters in a sense that where game is always changing. What they're going through now, I'm so disconnected from it. But sitting from afar watching it, I'm excited to watch it for some reason again, because once you retire, it's kind of hard to watch it for a minute. It's like, oh, I'm not out there. Where's my place? Are they going to remember me? You go through so many stages being an athlete. But I do see that there's a change taking place. And it's not about us as much as it is the rest of the world. And we have to respect that. They're not going to sit idly by and give us all this respect when they're trying to dethrone us at the same time. And we have to recognize that. That's what I'm kind of feeling, just coming from my little experience and background here, is that we're really got to give proper respect to the talents that are on the court across from us when we go out there. Now, I'm a little surprised myself with both teams. Shocked about the guys, especially 2 games, and very surprised with the women. But who am I? I don't know. I don't really understand the roster from from top to bottom right now as is. I'm kind of like a fan myself. I'm very, very proud of the fact that my teammate and one of my greatest friends, Dawn Staley, first female Black coach to coach an Olympic team. That's historical. So I definitely want them to get it together and get this gold medal.
A couple of questions for you here. This is such a great conversation. Michael Jordan said something a couple of years ago that kind of opened people's eyes. He said he watches the game, and I think he was talking about LeBron, and he painted this picture almost like he's watching the game and playing defense against the TV. He just like visualized and inserted himself on the court. Can you relate to watching a game that way now that you're retired, that you almost want to put yourself on the court as opposed to watching it, like an average Joe like me, or just watching the guys and girls run up and down the court?
I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. Right now, I feel like I'm in a dream because the side steps and the step backs was not a part of our game. That was not a part of the repertoire we used when we played, right? We just hardcore grind, go get each other, get knocked down, get back up, let's go. These kids here, they got all kind of moves, man. They got great handles like crazy. So to me, it's more of it's a one-on-one game going on. At the same time, they're trying to move the ball around. I'm trying to get used to that one-on-one thing because it's really exciting. Just to see the girls do the double crossover, snap up, and side steps, I'm like, oh, that's not something we did. I got to give respect to that myself. So putting myself into that screen, I'm like, I think I could have guarded that. I'm trying to guard it more so than I'm trying to be on the offensive end. Can I guard her? Can I do that? So, in a sense, you do get kind of caught up in that, and it's really on a fun tip.
Right, for sure. How close are we? Do you think it's going to happen? Are we going to have a female coach in the NBA? We're kind of on the fringe. It feels like, oh, maybe, possibly. We've had some assistant coaches. Do you think that'll be a reality one day? A head female coach in the NBA?
Strong question. I mean, we have Becky Hammond definitely situated to be one of the first, if not the first. I must say that because she's been in it the longest. She's sitting with Pop on the sideline in that crew. She's just really everywhere. She's been with their D-League team and things of that nature. The guys know her. I don't see how we can say it's not possible and won't happen soon. Now, we just witnessed what happened in Portland. She tried for that, didn't go down. So it's around the corner. They're going to keep calling her. Now, who's going to who's that guy or that organization that's going to take a chance on a woman, and what type of impact is that truly going to have on our society with young boys? I can tell you this, my experience today, I do a lot of training on the side, and I have so much fun training the boys. I have no problem going in the gym yelling at them. I have no problem getting them to go to different levels and different heights. As a matter of fact, they're a little slower than the girls sometimes going to different levels because they're hard headed. So I mean, just knowing that what it feels like when I'm in there, I can only imagine that Becky has so much more experience at that professional level that it can't take very long. There's no reason why it should not happen, and I truly support it.
And what would the problem be? I mean, basketball is a game of fundamentals. It's a game of angles. It's things that
Right.
there's nothing that caters towards, a man's brain that a woman doesn't have. And I think women are probably have a much better approach to it in some cases because they don't even have to think about depending upon, the athletic ability part where, I can just go in there and just dunk the ball and jump over everybody. The women's game is so fundamentally sound, and that has been a part of the way they have approached it their entire life. I mean,
There's a lot of things that can go south, and mainly I think it's the mentality in which men raise boys to view women. Reversing that thought process when it comes to being professionals is not easy. And it just stems back to something that's so much deeper than you and me playing basketball together. And I think that's the process in which we have to kind of like smooth out a little bit further in order for it to be truly successful and equally looked at. Because it's just the equal yoke thing. It's not going to necessarily always be an equal playing field. And as you saw in my book, the things that we went through to get to where we are today, we're still going through some of those challenges today as we play, and it's not all about salary. For me, it's not all about, hey, they make more money and we don't, and blah, blah, blah. No, but having the respect to and the accountability to make a good living, having an opportunity to do it here in America at home with your own family and friends. Those things were really huge to me when I was playing the game. What the perspectives are now, probably they're vastly different in what's of importance for women and where they are professionally with the game. But having that viewership understand that as you say, we know the game, we know what we're doing, we play it differently. And that actually is something else that would have to be spoken of and probably dissected and analyzed, because how we play the game, they are above the rim. Can a woman coach the game above the rim? That's a legitimate question to absorb and to really analyze and talk to and discuss with Becky or any other female that, has a desire to be a professional coach on the men's side.
Yeah, still a long way to go for sure. A question that I didn't do my full research because I'm hoping that I'm right here.
Okay.
Were you on the episode of Martin with the other members of the women's national team?
Oh, you don't remember me saying, "Come on, Big Daddy, what's that under your belly there?" That was one of the most amazing experience ever, man. Martin did a really great job bringing us out there, making good friends with Tisha Campbell and Tashina Arnold, hanging out with them all week, just seeing how it's really done in Hollywood. That cat kept us out there, I think, about 4 or 5 days, man. We did the table reads, we did the setups, we did the runs, the reruns. It was amazing. We had fun. It was really, really fun. He was a cool guy. He was really cool.
That is one of my favorite episodes.
And we were really trying. We had a lot of fun just whipping the ball around. It was too easy,
How did you not? How many times did you break character when Martin was pulling muscles?
That was hard. Yeah, that was hard. Yeah, by not looking at him. That's the only way you can do it. Don't look. Just listen.
And the guy that they had out there, the old guy that shuffled his feet, was he that old, or did they just make him look that old?
Both. I think he was quite old. He was up in age, but I don't want to insult the man.
Oh, that episode had so many layers to it. Oh my God!
Yes, it did.
We could spend the whole podcast talking about that episode of Martin. But God,
it was almost before its time too. No one was really dealing with the dynamics of women playing against men and winning and things of that nature, and dealing with that. And he took it on real fast in a great, funny way.
What do you think whenever you happen to walk by every once in a while and you might see that episode on TV?
I sit down and stop and look at it right away. It's just, it's great memories. It's fun. I see the genius behind it. I mean, I love Martin. I love the whole cast. And I just stop every time I see it. I'm looking for it. Every time I see the Martin show and I'm scrolling for something to watch, and if I see Martin, I'm like, oh, maybe this is the one I was on.
Yeah. God, it is one of those shows. You know exactly what's going to happen. You
I'm always,
memorized all the
this
lines.
is another thing. I'm always getting a text message and emails from someone who saw it, though. Always.
Really.
Always.
Oh, I bet. Oh, that will live on forever. After all of us are gone, that's still going to be out there. That is so awesome. Before we let you go, joined by Teresa Edwards, so gracious with your time today. We appreciate that. Tell us again, make it simple, how people can find the book. It's not that hard, but sometimes people need a little help. Let them know how they can find it and what you hope they can take away from it.
Oh, you got it. Listen, I am Teresa Edwards, and I've had an opportunity to do a wonderful book called Black Gold. It really talks about my experiences, the challenges in women's basketball, as well as just as a whole, the challenges we all have in life. It's not genderfied. It's male, female, CEOs, it's athletes. And I've taken my 1996 experience and I've actually shown, pretty much bared my soul on the challenges I had, because I'm not one to actually share negativity in the media. I wouldn't have done that, but I needed to let this story go. I needed to share these experiences. Black Gold gives me that opportunity to do it. And why black, why gold? A lot of layers there. Born black, reared in strength, and became golden. I call it Black Gold. That's how I do it. And having that opportunity to go on audible.com. That's all you got to do. Audible.com. Type in Black Gold. There I go. Get that experience, share it with me, spread the news. I think it's something and that will last a lifetime, these experiences, as well as I think people really don't know how much history I've really made. I am the first, probably male or female, that's played in 5 Olympic Games. Came away with 5 different medals, 4 gold and 1 bronze. And I got 2 girls on my heels headed to Tokyo, and I wish them well.
But you did it first.
I did it first. Don't you forget that. Teresa Edwards, all the way from Cairo, Georgia.
Hey, the next time you're in the southern part of Georgia and you see Cairo, know that there is a Teresa Edwards Street there. You've got to drive by. Once you listen to the book, there's lots of memories there that she talked about. Even her look, I'm not going to give away everything.
That's right.
Listen for her nickname.
You almost did it. I almost heard you.
Listen for her nickname and how she earned it. I mean, it was the most earnest. Some people try to give themselves a nickname. You earned that one.
Oh my God, and I wanted to get rid of it as soon as I did.
So there's lots of great gems in the book we didn't touch on here, but you got to check it out for yourself. And the next time you're some of our fans, the next time that you're at Morehouse, know that Teresa Edwards was one of the first to set the court on fire there. And she'll always be a part of the history there at the AUC. Teresa Edwards, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you all the best. And it was our pleasure talking with you.
Dolly, thank you. I appreciate it so much. Much love.